Hey guys, Wrench here. Figured it's finally time to release the newest version of the Carrier script. So I'm going to roll in the setup script, or I'm sorry, the setup video and the features video into one. So let's, because I have changes to both. So let's go ahead and throw in our Carrier. Now what we're going to do is we're now going to have the TACAN stuff in here. So 74 STN, change his name to Dennis. Alright, then we're also going to have the ICLS. And we probably don't need the TACAN bug fix anymore, so probably don't have to add it to the triggered actions at this point, but I'll put it in there anyway. If it's not there, it just won't do anything. So no big problems there. Alright, then we're going to add in our tanker. All of this is it's going to be pretty much the same. So refueling, we want S3B. We're going to want it to be take off from ramp, give them one random waypoint. Come back in here, change this to 42. And he is Texaco, so I'm going to make it TXO. Give him the name. Tanker_1, like I like to use. Okay, so that should pretty much be everything we need to set up there. So now let me, off screen here, I got to grab our code. Mission start. Do script file. Missed. Click again for reasons. Do script paste. I happen to grab this from an old version. Try to fix that. Okay, so the name is Dennis. We're going to go distance 1. We're going to give it 30 minutes, which is sort of unrealistically short, but we'll go with that. And tanker 1. Let me see whether or not I capitalized Dennis. I did, so we'll go back and fix that. Then, of course, we should probably load the file at some point, specifically before doing that call. So let's TV magic that into being in the right order. Alright, there we go. So that should be everything we need. Let's go ahead and launch the mission. Alright, one thing I forgot to do, we gotta make him, we got to make the tanker late activation. Ultimately you don't have to, but I like to do it that way. And then of course, we're gonna want a plane for us to be in. Probably a good idea. Okay, once more with feeling. Okay, here we are on the deck. Go ahead and close that for us. You can see that the tanker did not spawn, so delayed activation. Alright, then what we're going to do, open up the menu here, we'll see what has changed. So you'll notice that the tankers are no longer here, they're now in a submenu. They're Stennis tankers. Now we have a couple of different ones, a couple of different submenus here. We have info, controls, and tankers. Let me go into info, see what we can get. We can get the BRC, the mode query. A new one is we can get the bearing and range to the Stennis. And then of course it also gives us some other information. So it gives us he's 188 for 0, 244 for 150 from the Bulls, and then the lat long coordinates, which are in the proper format to be able to punch into the UFC. We'll demonstrate that. I'm sure you know how that works. Then we go back. Other carrier scripts, Dennis. Info. We can also get TACAN information. So it'll pop up and tell us it's TACAN and ILS. Settings, which is why you have to make sure that's in the first. The 0th waypoint, which is because it uses a 0th waypoint to determine the information to put in here. Now, under the tankers menu, you'll see a list of any tankers by call sign that will spawn on the tanker on the carrier. So go Texaco. Let's just go ahead and spawn Texaco so you can see them over there spooling up. And let's go over to script Stannis tankers Texaco so we can check how much fuel he's got. He has 16.8 thousand pounds of fuel. And then we can go ahead and check out his TACAN, so we can get TACAN information for the tankers as well. Speed up time here. And see if he'll crash into us, because supposedly they fixed that behavior. Unfortunately, he won't go around. Alright, so they claim, does Eagle Dynamics, that they fixed this behavior. Clearly, they did not. That is hilarious. Now the question is he going to float in space or is he going to fall off the back? He's going to float. Alright, I'm just going to point that out. That is an Eagle Dynamics thing. Alright, another thing you may notice is that if I go over to the tanker, the carrier, Wrench, come on, man. Alright, if I go over to the carrier, it's only going 10 knots, and I didn't bother to set up any wind, so we know we should be going about 25. What's going on here is that while the carrier is turning, it will now slow down to 10 knots, stop stuff sliding all over. It's a request I got, so I figured I'd add it in. So let's go ahead and query the Stennis. So it says turning to 189, so that tells us why he's only going 10 knots. Let's go ahead and speed this up. It is going to take a second because he's got a long way to turn, given that the wind direction defaults to being from the south to the north. Okay, there we go. You can see our tanker floating around in the background there, and we'll see that the speed will start to tick back up to 25 knots. Alright, now let's go ahead and query again. Try time 7 minutes, which makes sense because we've been running the mission for about that long, and Charlie time, cycle time was 30 minutes. It takes about 15 minutes to get back. So there we go. Alright, let's see. Any other changes that I want to point out? Nope, that's pretty much it. So basically the big one was adding, the TACAN information and stuff, and experimentally playing with having these submenus. So you have your info, like we kind of went over already, and then of course we have controls. There's another one I should point out. So I was going to do this for testing and then remove it, but I'll leave it in here for anybody that needs it. What we have here is the tanker range plus 0.5 nautical miles and minus 0.5 nautical miles. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that. It'll say now it's 3.5. The default is 3. So then we can come back in and we can make it an even 4 miles or whatever. We can play with it up and down to see what kind of behavior for the tanker we like the best. So that's something some guys might be interested in. I believe there might be something else I wanted to show you guys, which is there is some other information you may find useful. So give me just a second and I will show you that. Alright, what we have here is a couple of things. We're specifically going to look at these two values here, which is Wrench.Carrier.TankerDist and Wrench.Carrier.TankMarks. What that's going to do is the first one is going to determine the initial size of the tanker's orbit, and the second one will determine whether or not to put markers on the F10 map where those are. So those will be accessible from inside the mission if you choose to change those. So we'll have a look at that in a moment. Okay, so to show you what those tank marks do first, since we're in the mission, is we can see it created these user marks where the waypoints are for the tanker. So if you're playing with that value, that might be useful to have on. Okay, let's go ahead and see how we can affect those from within the mission editor. Okay, here we are back at our list of things to do. So what we're going to do is just before we call this, I'm just going to create a new. I'm going to push it up in the list. Go to do script. I'm going to paste those values in, and this is literally pasted just from those two lines that I showed you in the file there. So this is 3 times 1852, because there's 1852 meters in a nautical mile. So we can either change the total number of nautical miles with this theory here. So what we'll do is make it 4 nautical miles to start with, and don't create those marks we showed you. Actually, I do want to create those marks though, because I want you guys to see them actually working. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to I can't really join a spectator. Okay, I'll jump back to spectator once I'm in. Okay. Okay, so in order to have access to the menu, I have to take an airplane. Then what I can do is go ahead and spawn our tanker. Then go to choose slot, go to spectators. And we're going to just use some time acceleration here. So see, our tanker is going to go ahead and take off. Let's have a look at the map. And we can see it created these waypoints. Let's go ahead and speed up time here. And these waypoints can sometimes be a little bit screwy when you first start off, because the carrier is still turning to the appropriate heading. You know, normally you wouldn't be spawning a tanker right at the beginning of a mission. So we'll see as he comes up on his last waypoint, he gets new waypoints, and he'll just keep on circling. So let's have a look at his behavior here as he's coming into this waypoint. So he's going to bank a little to the right. Let's go to a little bit faster, about 3x, and then he can start his left-hand turn. So it's not unreasonable. Sort of the best I could do at playing with those values, just to get it to be useful. And then, of course, in the FM menu, I gave you the ability to refine those a little bit further if you need to. Alright guys, so I think that is just about it, and I'm going to call it there for the features and setup video. So thank you very much, and I'll catch you next time.
Sure.